All right, well, today's video is going to be pretty quick, and I'm going to be talking about making a barrel cooler, and that's a very loose definition of making because this is going to be super simple. And I'm not the one that came up with this idea. Barrel coolers have been around for a while. There are pre-made versions. Now, I'd really never thought much about barrel coolers. I knew they were around, but it really had never been a problem for me. But whenever I got that 7PRC, that sucker throws a lot of powder down the barrel. And whenever it's hot out and you're shooting its 85, 90 plus degrees, the barrel just does not want to cool off. And so I looked into doing a barrel cooler, and the first videos that I found on these were F-Class John, and he demonstrated these rechargeable inflators as a good, small, portable way to get good airflow. So all I've got to add to this is that I ordered this red silicone tubing, and I thought it was going to be 5/8 outside diameter with a 1/2 inside. And I was planning on 3D printing some adapters for the chamber and stuff. That ended up not happening because they didn't send me 5/8, they sent me 3/4 OD, but that ended up actually working out really well. So this is a Christensen arms rifle. It's a Remington 700 pattern action. And I'll show you the interesting thing with this 3/4 ID tubing is that it will fit completely into the front of this action, and you don't need any adapter or anything. It just fits and creates a very good seal. So that eliminates the need for any sort of 3D printing. This will work regardless of what caliber you're using. It just fits right in there. Now on the other end, the inflator here actually comes with an adapter. It comes with a set of adapters, and this particular one I found works almost perfectly with this tubing. And so with no 3D printing at all, I now have a barrel cooler that works pretty well. And all you got to do is just turn it on. Now, it works really, really well. I do get a bit of blow-by out of the front, but it's very minimal, and I'm getting a heck of a lot of airflow down that barrel. So, you know, I'm sure that if I 3D printed an adapter, I could get it better, but again, frankly, it's already putting a significant amount of air down the bore, so that's really not that big a deal. You may have noticed the one downside to these that I've seen people complain about is, man, they are loud. So this thing, whenever it gets wound up, and it's got 2 speeds, but it doesn't matter, low or high, it really is quite loud. So that's where I'm going to show you this alternative. So this is kind of a generic USB blower fan that you can find off of Amazon, fairly cheap. Now, this does not work as well for a pretty simple reason. The fan design of these inflators generates a higher static pressure, and so it's less affected by the constriction of the bore. These types of fans are made more for, I think, like putting on grills or smokers, and it does not provide as high a pressure coming out, but it does provide pretty good flow. The most significant benefit of it, it does, by the way, require a USB power supply. Plug it into this, let me turn it on here. It is much, much quieter. And so this is on its highest setting. This is medium, and this is low. So it doesn't work as well, but if for some reason noise is a big concern, and look, I get that it's weird to be talking about noise at something that you're going to be using at a gun range, but some people have mentioned the noise as a factor. This is quite a bit quieter, and it still does produce a decent amount of airflow. Now, the only other problem with using these is the tubing does not fit nicely, and so I did 3D print an adapter, and that way I can just put that hose in there, and now I've got, again, a nice little portable fan that I can give my barrel some cooling, and again, very minimal kind of work to get this thing going. So let's talk about cost, because that's always going to be a concern. So the little inflator here, there's a ton of these, and so I guess just pick the cheapest one. This one is actually called a Mistari, and I don't know, that's a stupid name, but the reason I got this one is because it was $7. It's super duper cheap, $7 for this thing. It's currently out of stock, so I don't know, I guess you just have to find a different brand. I would probably just buy the cheapest one that you can find. The blower style fan, this thing was like 14, 15 bucks, so it was well over twice as expensive, but they are a little bit easier to find. And again, it's just a different cost differential. The other downside, again, of getting one of these is you do need a battery pack, but you can use pretty much any cheap phone USB battery pack. So this thing was 10 bucks. I would probably get one of those anyway, because I don't know how long the battery on this rechargeable little inflator is going to last. And you could basically recharge it while you're waiting. Just, you know, every time you use it, get done, plug it into the battery pack, so it would stay with a pretty healthy charge there. So the other cost on the tubing. So this tubing, I got about a meter of it for, I don't know, it was about 12 bucks, and that's enough probably for at least 3 setups. So, you know, if you go with the little rechargeable blower and the tube, you're looking for maybe 20 bucks worth of stuff, and you'd have a bunch of tubing left over, so you could actually, you know, make a few of these, maybe split it with a couple of your friends, something like that. You know, the nice thing, it's also red, so you can use that as a chamber flag. Anyway, that's kind of all I've got to say. This is super quick and dirty. It works, and I'm pretty satisfied with how this went, because really figuring out that I didn't have to design or 3D print really anything with this thing, it just stinking works. So the alternative, if you are concerned about noise, is more expensive. It doesn't work as well, and you would have to 3D print an adapter for that thing. You know, to me, this one really is the correct choice there. I saw another guy put up a video where he had like a little mini toy, like leaf blower thing that he was using. I don't know, you know, obviously cost is a consideration, but if you can find another one of these like I did for frickin' 6 or 7 bucks, to me, that's a no-brainer. So anyway, that's it. If you got any feedback or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Thanks.